Welcome to ScoutIQ Basics. Whether you are a new ScoutIQ user or you're a new Seller 365 user that hasn't tried ScoutIQ, this class is going to help walk you through the basics of how to use ScoutIQ from setup to practically scanning and some things to look for on the Scout screen to understand the data better, as well as a slight look at triggers and a detailed look at our analytics tab. Before we get started, I'm going to drop some helpful links into the chat for you. This class is designed for education, so while I can answer questions, I can't go in depth on individual problems that people are having. So definitely check out the links for our support team here. You can reach out to ScoutIQ support using support@scoutiq.co. You can also check out our extensive help center at scoutiq.threecolts.support. And lastly, I just want to direct your attention over to Three Colts University at threecolts.university, where we have self-service courses, live classes, and some guides that are a little bit more interactive than an article that can walk you through some of our processes. So definitely check out the links and helpful articles that I dropped into the chat. All right, so we're going to begin by taking a look at our ScoutIQ web portal, and then we will move over on to the app directly. So whether you are a ScoutIQ a la carte user that is only paying for ScoutIQ, or whether you have our Seller 365 bundle, you're going to launch from either manager.threecolts.com, or as a Seller 365 user, you're going to go to our Seller 365 Hub 2.0. And you can launch the ScoutIQ app from there. So I'm going to walk a little bit through this web portal, and then we'll move over to sharing on the app. So the first thing you're going to see when you open this page is that it's going to say welcome and your name. This is my ScoutIQ demo education account, so it says welcome ScoutIQ. That's going to walk you through a checklist of items for you to check out. The first thing we are going to help you do is connect your Amazon Pro Seller account. If you've gotten to this page, you've already created a ScoutIQ account, so you'll always have a check mark here. But your next action item is going to be to connect your Amazon account to ScoutIQ. You can use ScoutIQ right away after you've signed up and downloaded the app without pairing your Amazon Pro Seller account. But there are some advantages to pairing your Amazon Pro Seller account because it actually enables us to access your Amazon account on your behalf. So with that in mind, I'm going to walk you through pairing your account. And then when I share on the app, you'll actually see one of the benefits of pairing your Amazon Pro Seller account. So to do this, we're just going to go over to our Amazon logo here on the left side. And a quick note, you'll see that the menu is hidden here. And then when you hover over it, the titles of each category appear. So we're going to click Amazon. If you have not yet paired your Amazon account, rather than seeing a green background with green writing, you'll see red backgrounds with white writing. It will say not linked and pending here. All you're going to do is you're going to click your green click here to reauthorize your Amazon account button. It's going to open up to your Amazon Seller Central account. You will just simply enter in your login information. And once you have logged in, it's going to open up your Amazon Seller Central account. Now, of course, if you're already logged in on the browser that you're using, when you've logged into ScoutIQ, then this will open automatically for you. So all you're going to do is you're going to scroll down, and basically you're saying you are authorizing ScoutIQ to access your seller partner account on your behalf. Read through what you are agreeing to access to, and then just check the box below if you agree and click confirm. Your screen will refresh after a few minutes, and you will see this link change from not linked and pending to connected and enabled, just like you see here. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the other things that you can do on this page. So the next thing to do would be to download the ScoutIQ app from the App or Play Store if you haven't already, and we do have QR codes to make that very easy for you. We have a couple of videos that go over some of the content that I am going to be teaching you through today. So if you ever want to play those back, you're welcome to do so. We have a link to our socials where you can join our ScoutIQ support group and our Book Flipper Facebook community. The ScoutIQ support Facebook group is specific to ScoutIQ, whereas the Book Flipper Facebook community is a group of over 30,000 booksellers, not exclusive to ScoutIQ. We're not super active on our Instagram, X, and YouTube currently, but check those out for future updates. We also have some opportunities for you to keep learning and to reach out to support that I've already dropped into the chat for you. Taking a look at the menu on the left, the first thing you will see is the Analytics tab. Now, the Analytics tab here on the web portal is a little bit different than the Analytics tab on the app. I'm going to be going in depth on the app, but there is a little less information here on the web portal. You can basically filter by a specific time frame or a user if you have a team member account, and you can view their scanning data, including their average number of accepts, their accept rate, their total list price, and buy cost for a given time frame. I didn't scan a ton yesterday, but you can scan by whatever, or sorry, you can filter by whatever time frame you want and view your stats at that time. Now, keep in mind that this test account does have an exceptionally high accept rate, and that's because only about 3 to 5% of the books you scan at a bookstore are going to be accepts. That's one of the benefits of ScoutIQ. ScoutIQ is designed to help you make fast decisions when you're in the thrift store. If you're analyzing a lot of historical charts and sort of slowly evaluating each book, you're not going to find very many profitable books. But with ScoutIQ, you can actually make fast purchasing decisions and find those profitable books very quickly. So your accept rate may not quite be 55%, but you'll definitely be a lot faster using ScoutIQ than you would be without it. Below our analytics tab, we have achievements. Now, achievements is more of gamification of the app. Rather than data, hard and fast data about your scanning, we are just sort of allowing you to level up purely based on the number of scans. And I always say I'm a little bit bummed because I had to switch to a new education account last year, and I was all the way up at gold, and now I'm reset to rookie, but quickly climbing as I scan. This can be fun too if you have multiple team members or secondary users on your account, because you can compete to level up against one another. Below that, we have our triggers tab. Now, I'm not going to go too in depth on triggers here in this class, but we do have another class called Beyond Accept and Reject ScoutIQ Triggers, where I do teach you all of the logic that goes into our accept and reject recommendations. One thing I will note, though, is that here on the web portal, you will see the ability to add a new trigger set and any custom trigger sets that you have created, but you will not see our default trigger sets. However, if you are sharing, or if you are looking at our ScoutIQ app, you'll notice that you will always see the ScoutIQ default triggers on the app. We have a default trigger for the US and for the UK. Those will never disappear. They cannot be modified, and there's nothing you can do to damage those. However, you do have the ability to pre-fill with our ScoutIQ default triggers and tweak those or adjust those as you see fit. But we keep the defaults the same on your phone at all times so that you're never in a position where you accidentally mess up our default triggers. Our ScoutIQ default triggers are the product of extensive research, and they are designed to maximize profit and minimize risk. So our goal there is to have a trigger that picks the highest price at which the book is likely to actually sell quickly. You can customize those to suit your own business model once you have a really good understanding of the Scout screen, which I'm going to go over today, and what your own sales model looks like. So take a look at our 3colds.university and sign up for that Beyond Accept and Reject class if you're looking for a more thorough walkthrough of triggers. Below triggers, we have a team section. Now, with 3colds, majority of the process of adding a secondary user is completed from 3colds Manager or 3colds Hub. However, here on the team tab of our ScoutIQ web portal is where you would assign a particular trigger set to your team member, and you can toggle your team member on or off of hidden mode. If you have a business partner that you're scouting with, that you don't care if they see the profit information, they are an equal partner with you, then you would just leave them off of hidden mode, and they would see the exact same scout screen that you see. But if you do have a secondary user that is a VA or someone scanning on your behalf, you don't want them to see the profit details, you do have the ability to toggle hidden mode on, giving them a simplified screen with just a large red X or a big green check mark. And we do go into that a little bit more in our triggers course as well. But that is where you would manage that. Below that, we see our Amazon tab, which you already have seen. On our training videos tab, we have some specific older ScoutIQ led by Caleb Roth, the former owner of ScoutIQ. So check out that information, but please know that it is a little bit out of date and we have much more current training at threecolts.university. Now, the last thing I want to show you here on the web portal before we move on is the ability to request a feature. We use a tool called Frill to allow you to request features for the product. Our goal as ScoutIQ is to innovate in ways that are actually meaningful for you. So our development team and our product manager rely heavily on this feature suggestion page to hear what matters to you. So the first thing I want you to do, even if you are new with ScoutIQ, is to scroll through some of the ideas that have already been suggested by other users, and you can upvote those if those are something you would like to see. If you don't see the idea already here and you have a great idea for how to improve the product, just click submit an idea, summarize it, give us a little bit more information about why your idea is useful, who would benefit, and how it should work. Choose up to 3 topics for the idea. We do ask that you do not use the bug report section because we rather have you report bugs directly at support@scoutiq.co. But other than that, categorize your idea, submit it, and you're going to receive email updates on the progress of that idea. And other users will then be able to vote on that idea as well. So definitely check that out if you have ways to improve the app, especially once you've been using it a little bit longer. With that, I'm going to move over to sharing on the app, and we're going to talk about how to set your app up before you head out scouting. So the version of the app that I'm demoing today is our Live Pro subscription. So if you're paying for a ScoutIQ only account, that's our $44 a month subscription. If you have a Seller 365 subscription, then you automatically get our Live Pro plan. And that plan does include our downloadable database. So you will see the downloadable database button here at the bottom of the screen. If you are subscribed to our Live plan, or also known as our basic plan, that is just $14 a month, and you do not have our downloadable database. So bear with me for a few minutes while I talk about the database. And when I discuss our settings tab, I'm going to talk about some of the advantages of having a downloadable offline database like we have with ScoutIQ. So by tapping the downloadable database button here on the bottom of the screen, we now see the ability to download the database again, test the database, and if you downloaded it before, you can see the last date that it was downloaded. So I did download it today, but I'm going to walk you through the process of what that looks like. All you would do is tap the download database button. It's going to give you a reminder to go ahead and put your phone down and walk away. Don't take any texts or accept any phone calls while it's downloading. It typically only takes 3 to 5 minutes over a fast Wi-Fi signal. And it's going to open up a little counter here. That's going to progress from 0 to 100%. If I were able to have sound on and not have a feedback loop with me sharing, you would also hear a high-pitched ding whenever the database download completes. I'm going to go ahead and let that run in the background, and I'm going to navigate over to our settings tab and walk through some of the features you see there. So the first thing you see at the very top of the screen is this little person icon. Now, by clicking that, you're actually going to be doing the same thing you would do if you were on manager.threecolts.com. You went to our Seller 365 hub and you tapped on the personal button here. You see the same icon, and that's because it's going to take you directly to that same tab. So I can see the details of my account here. And if I tap that button on the app, I can see the same details. So you can do a little bit of account management. That's going to take a second to load because I am in the process of downloading, but you can do a little account management directly from the ScoutIQ app. However, if you're going to be doing more than a little interacting there, you might want to just go ahead and do that from the web. I do want to note that you have access to chat here on this tab. However, if you're reaching out to chat with our support, we strongly suggest just doing that on a computer or a device separate from your phone, because some of the process that may be involved with troubleshooting will require the use of your phone. But just know that a little bit of account management is available here in app. You do have the ability to switch account, log in with a different account. Perhaps if you are an account manager and you want to double check your VA's account, you could use that feature. Now below that, you're going to see our preferences section. I'm going to just tap in and check on our database really quick. All right. We have our preferences section, and this is exactly what it sounds like. This is your opportunity to customize the app as you prefer. So you have the ability to leave your phone screen always awake or allow it to time out whenever you're not touching the screen. This is especially helpful if you are scanning with our Bluetooth scanner, with a Bluetooth scanner rather than the camera on your phone. So you might not be touching your phone all the time, but you don't want to have to unlock the screen using your thumbprint, your face, your PIN every time you want to look at the Scout screen. So you could have the option to have your phone screen always awake. You also have the ability to toggle audio on or off. Again, this is helpful in environments where you are scanning with a Bluetooth scanner and maybe you don't want to look at your phone every single time, but you just want to have an alert in a Bluetooth earbud letting you know when there's an accept notification. It's also really helpful if you're at a library sale right next to the library and maybe you don't want that loud beep, or you have a suspicious thrift store manager who is like, why are you scanning everything? And you don't want to draw attention to yourself. Toggle that audio off and you have a little discretion. We also have the ability, if you don't want to use Bluetooth earbuds, to have vibration toggled on so that you get an extra vibration whenever there is an accept. So you can set this up as you prefer. Now, the next button I'm going to show you is ISBN searches only. If you have ISBN searches only toggled on, you will only be able to search by ISBN or barcode. You cannot do title searches with ISBN searches only toggled on. I'm going to demonstrate a title scan in just a minute, so I'm going to leave this off for you. But when you do a title scan, you'll notice that that a multiple results found screen always comes up with title scans. And so if you want to avoid that, because it can slow you down a little bit, toggle on ISBN searches only. However, if you plan on scanning titles, make sure that this is toggled off. I'm going to check on our database again. It's going a little slow today because I am streaming for the purposes of this class and because I'm actually on a mobile hotspot due to a storm in my area. But typically, like I said, it only takes about 3 to 5 minutes to download. You also have a locked screen button. Now, this isn't your phone's locked screen. This is specific to the ScoutIQ app. If you toggle the lock screen on, it's going to put a little lock icon at the bottom of your screen, and I can tap the phone. And while it will wake up the screen, it doesn't navigate away. It doesn't allow my phone to pocket dial, and it just keeps your phone from navigating away from the ScoutIQ app. This is, again, really helpful if you're scanning with a Bluetooth scanner with your phone in your purse or pocket and you don't want to be butt dialing anybody while you're scanning. But once you're ready to see that screen again, or interact with that screen again, you just swipe up and that lock button goes away. So some people may be scanning with a Bluetooth scanner, have their phone propped on their shopping cart, and they just don't want it to navigate away from the screen. That Scout screen will still pop up for them to see, but they don't have to worry about navigating away. Before I get into scanning modes, I'm going to take a look at our download progress. And then I'll talk a little bit about how you can scan using ScoutIQ if you don't want to buy extra equipment like a Bluetooth scanner. Now, ScoutIQ is set up to work with any Bluetooth scanner that can be paired in HID/keyboard mode. So you're welcome to check out the article I dropped into the chat for some recommended brands that are popular with our users. But if you find a really affordable one that's well reviewed on Amazon and it has the ability to be paired in HID/keyboard mode, you can go ahead and consider buying that one. But if you are just starting out and you don't want to buy any extra equipment, you can scan just using the ScoutIQ app several different ways. So the first way would just be to type in your barcode down here by tapping where you see the blinking cursor. And you would just grab your barcode off of the back of the book and type it in. We do offer some handy pre-fill buttons. So a lot of book barcodes typically begin with 978. So you could just tap the 978 button and fill that in automatically. And then you just type in, let me make sure I'm typing it correctly, 814-767-76248. And once you've entered it in, you can just tap the search button and it will pull up a result for you. But that's a little bit cumbersome. It can be handy if you don't have good lighting. Maybe you're scanning in a university library basement or the back of the thrift store where the lighting is poor. It can be really helpful to type those in, but it is a little bit cumbersome and slow. We also offer the availability of a microphone button where you can speak your barcode in. And obviously, one of our most popular is just to scan with your phone's camera by tapping the scan button. And you can do the barcode or the ISBN, which can be found on the back of the book, I'm overcast today with a little storm, and barcode scanning can sometimes require you to move the camera closer or farther apart from your book. Or you can scan the book's title page. Now, our title pages are the most jumpy because they're pulling any word that appears on the title page. So we don't recommend scanning the busy art-filled cover of your book, but rather opening up to the title page and then tapping scan and moving over to title and scanning that way. Now, as I mentioned before, our title page scans are always going to bring up a multiple results found page. And all you're going to do is look through those results and then find the book that looks like the book in your hand. So you can see I scanned a book called The Valley of Vision, a collection of Puritan prayers and devotions. So I can look through and I can see, there's different issues of this particular book available. I can tap the one that I'm looking at, and now I'll get the same result before. But if I don't want to mess around with that multiple results found screen, all I would need to do is toggle ISBN searches on and scan away. I am also going to recommend that you put your hand over your phone's camera when you are changing modes. And I'm going to go back over to barcode mode. I also want to show you speed mode really quickly. So speed mode enables you to scan many books very quickly. And we do have a light here, which is great for low light scanning. I'm actually going to use it because it's a little overcast here today. And just show you how in speed mode, I don't have to hit enter after every book. I can just pick up and scan. Pick up and scan, pick up and scan. It also prevents duplicates if you have speed mode toggled on. So I just scanned a book called The Fallacy Detective. If I try to scan that again without closing my phone, it will. Did I toggle that on? I didn't. My goodness. Let me show you that again. So with speed mode toggled on, you're going to get a preview of the Scout screen. And on that little preview, you see the most important critical data about that book. We're going to talk about what each one of these things are in just a few minutes. But let me show you again how much faster it is in speed mode to just scan very quickly. And I'm just looking for that green accept, and I'm not even going to look at my Scout screen unless I get an accept and I want to analyze it more closely. In that case, I'll just tap the X button and look at the detailed screen. But with speed mode, you're scanning very quickly and you're also getting a sneak peek of the most critical information about that book. And again, speed mode doesn't allow duplicate scans if you haven't looked at the Scout scan in between. So I just scanned Puritan prayers again, and I'm going to try. It's not going to pick it up until I move on to a new barcode. So again, very helpful if you're in a busy thrift store. You don't want to be fussing with, you're pulling these books off the shelf, your hands are full, and you don't want to look closely at every single item. That little preview that you get on the top of the screen may be enough. I'm going to go ahead and toggle off of speed mode now, and I've turned off my light as well. Let's go back and check our database. I'm sure it's nearly done. Once it reaches 100%, the counter will disappear. And you can actually see, let's watch it happen right here. I don't normally tap in right at this perfect timing, but I guess it worked out today. So it's going to reach 100% and then the counter will disappear. Once it does, I'm immediately going to use the test database icon to double check that I've gotten a good download. If I haven't, all I need to do is make sure I have a strong, steady Wi-Fi or cell signal and try my download again. Now, we strongly recommend downloading the database before you head out scouting, just to make sure that you've got the database downloaded and you're locked and loaded for whenever you encounter a place where you don't have good Wi-Fi or good cell signal. The last thing you want to do is be unprepared and now you have no connectivity and you haven't downloaded the database. So we recommend downloading it before every scouting or sourcing outing that you might go on. Tapping back over to our settings tab, I want to talk a little bit about scanning modes. Now that we've downloaded the database, let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages of each one of our scanning modes. The first one I want to talk about is live only mode. So for those of you that are subscribed to ScoutIQ as a standalone product and you're a live or basic user, you don't have the downloadable database on your phone, you're always in live only mode. You won't see this scanning mode section on your app, and that's because you just have one scanning mode. You're always scanning in live only mode. Live only mode is excellent when you have pretty solid Wi-Fi or a good cell signal because you're getting real-time data. You're getting the real data pulled directly from Amazon in real time. And if you have a decent cell signal, you're going to be able to scan pretty quickly in live only mode. With live only mode, you're always going to get data in all 4 columns, and you're always going to have a thumbnail of the book that you can look at. But what happens if you are at, like I said, a university basement, the back of a thrift store? I have my sort of route of thrift stores that I scan at, and they moved their entire library section to this addition to their building that's all cinder block, and I have no cell signal there. And what you'll notice where you don't have a good cell signal is that your results will start to be slower. So instead of being able to scan very quickly, you'll get a little bit of a spinning wheel as you try to scan. And that's just because we're having to do a live API call to Amazon, and we're waiting for them to send back the results because your internet connection's a little slow. So that is where our database only mode comes in. You've downloaded the database before you headed out, and you're now able to scan and get very fast results. In fact, even faster. You can see how much quicker that is. Very fast results, regardless of your cell signal or Wi-Fi connection. However, on occasion, and I saved an example just for this, you might run into a book that is not found in our database. If you're scanning in database only mode, this is what you will see. It's going to say no results found. And that doesn't mean the book isn't on Amazon. It means that book is not in our downloadable database. And that is where Data Plus Live mode comes in. Data Plus Live gives you kind of the advantages of both of the connection modes because it's giving you the speed of scanning with database only, but it's also going to backfill any information, any books and media items that are not in our database with live information. So again, I'm scanning very, very quickly in database only mode. I'm getting no thumbnail, and you'll notice that my FBA 4th column, my FBA new column, is not populated just to save room in our database. But when I happen upon that same book again that's not in our downloadable database, if I scan it, now it's going to do a live pull only for that item. So Data Plus Live is great if you don't have a solid cell signal or Wi-Fi connection, but you still want that live information pulled in, even if it takes a little bit more time. You can go ahead and do a Data Plus Live scan. You're going to get the speed of the database, but filling in any blanks that might exist. Now, our downloadable offline database has over 9 million books and media items, so it's growing every single day. It's basically crowdsourced by you, our customer. So as you begin to scan books, you will see those books start to show up in our database. That's why it's always hard for me to find an example for this class, because I scan a book a few times and next thing you know, it's in our database. That being said, Amazon has over 20 million books and media items and growing every day. And so there are going to be times when items aren't in our database. That's where Data Plus Live mode really keeps you scanning no matter what. I'm going to go back into live only mode because I'm at home and I have a good Wi-Fi connection right now. Actually, I am on my mobile hotspot, but it's pretty solid. Now, the next thing I want to show you is our custom link section. The custom link section allows you to add a link for additional research directly to your Scout screen. So tapping back over to the Scout screen, there is a little chain link button here on the bottom left side. That link will take you to whatever you have populated in your custom link section. We have a lot of pre-filled options for you. So if you happen to sell on eBay as well as Amazon, you could pre-fill with eBay completed, eBay sold, or eBay active. You just have to log in. You would put in the eBay link here, and then you would tap the chain link, and it would prompt you to log in to your eBay account, and then you would be able to find that item if it is on eBay. You also have addall.com and bookfinder.com. I'm going to show you with bookfinder.com right now just to give you an example of how that works. Oops, I tapped the wrong one. So if I tap the chain link now, I'm going to be able to look this book up on bookfinder.com. That is really helpful in cases where the book in your hand seems too good to be true. I had an example from a customer a few weeks ago that had a 25-cent piano, like teaching how to play piano book that was selling for 150, but there was only one listing on Amazon. So he's like, did I strike gold here? There's not a lot of other offers for me to compare to. That's when BookFinder really came in handy. Now you'll see a lot of information populates on this screen and it's fairly tiny. The good news is it is fully zoomable. So with BookFinder, new information is on the left of the screen and used is on the right. So I'm actually going to just zoom in over here on the right side of the screen and take a look. Now you can see that I have offers from eBay. It shows a few of my Amazon offers. It shows Abe Books, Textron, Alibris, a lot of familiar names out there if you've been if you've been flipping books for a while, but you can kind of see what other offers exist out there on the internet. You know, if you're seeing books selling from $3 to $12 and there's only one Amazon offer and it's telling you that it's 150, chances are it's a skewed offer and you're not going to be able to sell the book for that price. Now for 25 cents, I might pick it up anyway, and it might still be profitable, but it's really helpful for doing additional research in places where there are seemingly outlandish offers available on Amazon. We also offer the availability of you to put a completely custom link in there. I had a UK customer wanting to put a site similar to BookFinder, but that specialized in the UK market there. You could put that in as well. If you have a Keepa subscription, you can add Keepa as a custom subscription. So definitely check that feature out. Below that, we have a wholesale integration program. Now we've partnered with Sell Back Your Book. They recently sold to World of Books, but our integration still says Sell Back Your Book. They work just the same. With this toggled on, you will see an offer in the bottom of the second column here for any items that Sell Back Your Book is buying. That offer is the price they will give you if you mail them the book. You have to have a minimum cart value of $7.50, but you can add it directly to your Sell Back Your Book World of Books cart directly from the ScoutIQ app. So let me just show you how that works. This is one I know has an offer. And I have wholesale audio cues toggled on as well, because those are designed to give you an extra prompt every time you scan a book where the wholesale offer is higher than the FBA offer. Now, for this particular book, I would probably go ahead and just try to sell it FBA because my profit is up to $10.54. Sell Back Your Book is buying this book for $6.05. So I could say, I don't really want to take my chances with FBA. I don't know if it'll sell for this price. So I'm going to go ahead and just go with Sell Back Your Book and get $6 fast cash right now. All I have to do is tap on the box and it will automatically be added to my Sell Back Your Book cart. Once my total cart value reaches $7.50, I will have the option to complete trade, and I can actually print a label directly from the ScoutIQ app and mail these books off. Now you can see I've actually used this book as an example twice, so I don't really have a cart value of $7.50, but you get the idea. And then if you don't have that complete cart value yet, it's just going to tell you what you need to do, how much more you need to scan to complete the trade. But where Sell Back Your Book really shines is to monetize your duds. Maybe you've purchased a book that you are restricted from selling. We're going to talk about where to find restriction checks a little bit more in a second. But if you are restricted from selling a book and you've paired your ScoutIQ app with Amazon, you will see either a red X or a green check mark in that little box. Let me find one. I thought I saw a few that I was approved for. Now my test account is not approved for very many because I don't sell with it. It's more of a demo account. However, you can see a green check mark if you are approved for selling a particular item. If you get a red X, it doesn't mean don't buy that book. As a matter of fact, if it's affordable, it's a good idea to buy books that you're restricted for, apply for approval with Amazon because you're trying to build your brand reputation with Amazon. But on the off chance that you apply for approval for an item and you are not approved, you can hang on to that book, wait until your business has grown up a little bit and apply again. But if you're still not approved at that point, now you've got a book you paid for and you want to get a little bit of money back, but you can't sell it on Amazon. That's where Sell Back Your Book is really helpful. Another integration that we have that is primarily focused on the textbook market is restricted inventory. Now, restrictedinventory.com is not a wholesale company. They actually operate on a consignment model. And what that means is in this little box, they're going to show you what they believe they will be able to sell this book for. If you send it to them, they will post and sell that book. And then whatever it sells for, they will give you 50% of the profit. It's a 50-50 consignment model. Again, they're focused primarily on textbooks or workbooks. This is a workbook. So I could make about $250, a little less than $250 if this book sells for $4.99. Sell Back Your Book, they're giving you the actual offer of Sell Back Your Book. This is what World of Books Sell Back Your Book is buying this for. However, with restricted inventory, it is an estimate. So just keep that in mind. But this integration functions very similarly to sell back your book. You just tap it and add it to cart. Tap the box and add it to cart. If you're not even interested in doing that, just go ahead and keep these two toggles toggled off. The last thing to draw your attention to on the bottom of the screen here is the version of the app and the ability to log out. Now, the app version is really primarily helpful. If you are experiencing an issue, you can let our support know what version of the app you have. Other than that, let's move on to talking about our scanning screen. I've been showing you this Scout screen quite a bit. Let's talk about what we're actually looking at here. It's a lot of information, and I don't want you to be overwhelmed because it's all useful and it all serves a purpose. The first thing I want to draw your attention to on this Scout screen is the price highlighted in orange. Now, we talked a little bit about our triggers. What our triggers do is they factor in how frequently this book is selling, the other offers that exist for this item, and your particular profit parameters. And they pick the highest price with, factoring all of those things in, the highest price at which this book is likely to actually sell. So the price that is highlighted in orange right when you scan a book is the price selected by your triggers. The cool thing is this is a tappable price. So if I want to see what would happen to my profit number, if I tapped another number, I can tap any number on the screen and see how my profit would change if I were to sell the book at that price. But just know that that price originally selected by your triggers is the price that we are recommending as the target price for this item. Target price is also known as list price, but there is one caveat. If I tap my profit calculator here, or my profit number here, it's going to open up our ScoutIQ profit calculator. With the profit calculator, I can see the list price selected by the app, and I can see the buy cost if I have input one. It's going to show you all of the fees that we do and do not factor in when we are calculating your profit number. And any of the numbers that is orange is something you can tap. Keep in mind, we do not factor in placement fees. And so if you want to try to account for those a little bit better, you could up your inbound shipping fee or even add a fuel and inflation surcharge and maybe factor those placement fees in a little bit. If you are a merchant fulfilled seller, you can also tap merchant fulfilled and see what fees we're factoring in there. Our outbound shipping right now is based on USPS Media Mail, or you could change it to UK Royal Mail rates, whatever they are, and factor those in. But remember I said the target price and list price are not always the same thing. In almost every case, the list price you see here is the same price as the target price highlighted here on the Scout screen. However, if the triggers have selected Amazon's price at the target price, we have a protection in place to prevent you from competing directly with Amazon. Because you're selling a used book, you don't want to compete with Amazon's new price directly. And so if you tap the profit calculator in a case where the triggers have selected Amazon's price, the list price is going to be either 10 or 15% below Amazon's price, just to avoid competing with them directly. And you can set that up to be whatever you want, but our default triggers basically say for books that are selling faster, we want to undercut Amazon by 10%. For books that might be in our inventory for longer, we want to be even more competitive with Amazon and undercut them by 15%. But you set that up, and I do go over this in detail in our ScoutIQ Beyond Accept and Reject ScoutIQ Triggers course. Now let's just go kind of step by step through the Scout screen top to bottom and talk about every single thing you see here. So at the top of the screen, you see our profit number, which I've already mentioned. Now, if you have it set to merchant fulfilled, all you have to do is click the X, and whatever you leave it on, whenever you close the profit calculator, that is what it's going to show for the next books that you scan. So you can see that now, rather than saying profit FBA, it shows profit merchant fulfilled. If you happen to sell both, right now what you would need to do is toggle and close, and you'll see your FBA. We do have someone who just put in a feature request to allow you to see both profit numbers at a glance. So if that's something you're interested in, please go upload that on the request a feature page. The other thing you see in this top bar here is the accept or reject recommendation, obviously, and buy cost. Now I'm setting my buy cost at 0 because I just grabbed books off my shelf to demonstrate today. If you're just starting out, it's actually a really great idea to start practice scanning with items that are already on your shelf, especially books that you don't plan on reading again and you might be willing to sell. Before you spend any money, scan the books on your shelf. But if you do have a book that's not free, tap buy cost and you can either increase or decrease buy cost in 50-cent increments using the plus or minus button. Or if you tap right into the orange box, it's going to pull up your keyboard and you can put the exact, granular price that might be listed at the thrift store for that item. Just know that whenever you close the buy box, the buy cost box, whatever price is in there is the price that is going to apply to the next items you scan. So make sure you change that so that your profit numbers are accurate. I also want to point out that I can also edit buy cost here in the profit calculator, just tapping into the orange box and then putting in my price. I'm so happy when I can find paperbacks for 25 cents at my local thrift. So I'm going to keep the 25-cent price for now. Now, the next line below that is data about your book, and it's some of the information that you saw when I was scanning in speed mode. You can see that I can see my profit, my eScore, and my rank at a glance for every item I scan in speed mode. That's because those are some of the most critical pieces of information about any given book. Sales rank is probably a metric you're familiar with if you've been selling with Amazon for a while. We know that with sales rank, the lower the rank, the better. But what sales rank doesn't do is give you a historic perspective on that book. It's not telling you how often this book is selling. And so what we've done is we have developed a metric called eScore to sort of bake in a historic perspective right there at a glance. And that is actually what enables us to make these fast purchasing recommendations for you. Now you can take a look at any given item. We even have some historic sales charts built right into the app here where I can just tap the chart and take a look at the pricing history, new and used for that item, and the sales rank for that book. But what you see with sales rank is that it's quite volatile. The price with this book has been pretty steady for new and for used, but you can see my green sales rank is all over the place. If I would have grabbed this book on this day, I would definitely have bought it because it was a nice low right at the 100K mark or even below 100K mark back here. But if I had ran into this book on this day when there hadn't been a few sales, or for this little season here, because this is a 6-month view, I might have chosen not to buy it because I didn't have a historic perspective and I knew that the rank was higher than I was really looking for. eScore basically smooths out the volatility that you see with sales rank by taking a look at the last 180 days or 6 months and giving you a seasonal view of this book, because we know that with a lot of textbooks and things, there's a seasonal demand for books. And so it's really helpful to look at a 6-month view of that book. By looking at 180 days, we're giving you a score of either 0, meaning the book hasn't sold at all in the last 180 days, all the way up to 180. What you will notice is that when I scan a book that has sold 151 or more times, we just lump that eScore into the 151 plus category, telling you, when a rank gets this far below 100K, we can't say with certainty that it's sold every single day out of the last 180, but we can tell you it's selling quite often, probably just about every day. It's a quite good sales rank. Now with this particular book, because it's selling for such a low price, even with the 25% or a 25-cent buy cost, this is a reject for me, but it's still a very good rank, which means it's selling very often. So we are taking multiple factors into play whenever we're making our accept or reject recommendations. But that eScore is what gives you the historic perspective. If you had scanned this item, let me put speed mode back on. I would have seen the exact eScore of this book. Whereas on the Scout screen with speed mode toggled off, I see the amalgamated estimate of 151 plus here. Now, the next thing you see here, but my one note is that with eScore, higher is better. With rank, lower is better. So just keep that in mind. Now, you will rarely, if ever, see a trade-in value, so don't worry too much about this metric for books. You may occasionally see it on electronic items. This is the amount Amazon is going to give you in Amazon gift cards if you just trade this book directly to them. They don't do that a ton more. I haven't seen it with books in ages, so we may not even have this metric before long. But for right now, that's what trade-in value is. If you see it, now you know what it means. Now below that, you see a gray line here. It's telling you the number of offers that exist for this book. There are 96 copies of this book available used and 32 new. That's your competition for this book. And so that's giving you an idea of the market supply for this particular item. Now, the other thing you see here is a red X, like I mentioned, or a green check mark. So if I were to want to sell this book on Amazon, I would need to apply for approval with Amazon before I could sell it. So keep in mind, if you have a red X, you will have to do a little extra admin to apply for approval with Amazon to get approval for that book. We're not showing you all 96 used offers here. Quite obviously, while there is a lot of data here, I am not showing you 96 used offers and 32 new offers. What we do with the ScoutIQ app that makes us a little bit different than some of the other apps you see out there, specifically different than the Amazon seller app, is I'm not showing you all of the offers. I'm showing you a curated overview. What we have in each column is that I show you the lowest price, the 5 lowest prices, excuse me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the 10th price and the 15th or 20th price, depending on the particular API call. That's because all third-party scouting apps are given access to ScoutIQ data through something called the API, and that API only gives us access to the 15 to 20 lowest prices. And so what we're doing is giving you a curated overview of those prices. By showing you the first lowest 5, then the 10th and the 15th or 20th, you can get an idea for how these prices sort of stay clustered together or open up. Now, these prices for this particular item, there's really only a 60-cent spread from the first lowest offer to the highest lowest offer. But you can see in other cases, there are going to be items where, let me find one where it spreads out a little bit more, where the pricing is not so close or clustered together. And it's really helpful to sort of have a feel for that when you're choosing a price for a particular item. These prices form the foundation of our triggers. So understanding what we're showing you here is really helpful before you start to modify the default triggers. Something else to note, our first column contains our lowest offers regardless of fulfillment method, but our merchant fulfilled offers are typically found in this column. If you're a merchant fulfilled seller, you want to look at both because you are competing against all other sellers. If you're an FBA seller, you primarily want to focus on our used FBA column. Something else you'll notice here is that every single one of our used prices has a condition note here in parentheses, whereas obviously our new are all new, so there are no condition notes. The 2 new columns actually mimic our 2 used columns. So our first is merchant fulfilled offers, all offers regardless of fulfillment method, and then our FBA offers here. We are competing the least with our FBA new offers, and so that is why we do remove these from our database just to save space. So if you're scanning in database mode, you will notice that the 4th FBA column is blank. Now, at the bottom of the screen here, we have 3 other numbers. We have our used buy box, our new buy box, and Amazon's price if they are on the listing. We all know buy box is the price that you can click immediately to add to cart with your new buy box. Our used buy box price is usually the lowest prime offer from a reputable seller. Our triggers have directed in this particular case to price competitively with Amazon. We walk through in depth exactly why we pick the target price we pick in our triggers course. So definitely join if you're interested in that. The last thing I want to point out here is that all of the prices on this screen are our landed prices, meaning the price including shipping. So the price might be $8.99 with $0 shipping, or it might be a $4 book with $4.99 shipping. It's going to show as $8.99 here in the app for you. We've already talked about our custom link here, and you've taken a look at our historic chart. The live button is designed to allow you to do a live lookup on any item, even if you're in database only mode, as long as that item is in our database. So let me scan a book here. Now I'm looking at the database results. If I tap the live button, I can see real time how this listing has changed. We update our database every 24 hours, and pricing can change on Amazon up to every 15 seconds. So there are going to be times, like you just saw with this particular scan, that the results did change between our database scan and our live scan, but you typically won't see an item go from an accept to a reject. If they're right on the edge, and there's movement on that particular item, a few copies sell, a few copies are added, the data may differ slightly. But don't worry too much about minor changes like that because the pricing of that item is going to change the entire time the book is in your inventory. Once you've bought it, you've bought it. Now you got to try to profit from it. Now, next to our live button, we have a link to another partnership we have with BookScouter.com. BookScouter.com is going to show you all of the wholesale offers that exist for this book and who's buying it. So you could choose to sell this book to any wholesaler, but it's also helpful information if you are trying to research how much a book is really worth and trying to pick the best price for you. Next to that, you see the old faithful Amazon logo we're all familiar with. You can research this book on Amazon directly by tapping the Amazon button. Your rank and your eScore are kept up there for you, and then you can filter as you like. So I can say, maybe I only want to look at my used prime offers for this book. I tap done, and now I see those offers for you. And I can see the offers, all of the offers that exist for this book, not just the ones that are the curated overview. If you're scanning in live mode, as I mentioned before, you will see a thumbnail. If not, there will be a blank here. You see the title, the weight of the book, and the ISBN. So lots and lots of information on this screen. It can be a little overwhelming at first. And so that is why we have created a secondary screen called our Scout Light screen. Now, the Scout Light screen is designed to give you an at-a-glance look at the most critical data about that book. Target price, rather than being highlighted in orange, is just right up here at the top of the screen. You have your buy cost, and just like on the other screen, that that buy cost is tappable, and I can change my buy cost here in 50-cent increments or putting them in just like with the other buy cost field. I can also tap the profit number and see the profit calculator just like I did before. So it's just placed slightly differently. I still get my green accept or reject recommendation, but I also see a bit of the other information sort of categorized for you. So the first two items you see are sales rank and eScore. That is telling you the market demand for this book. How often is it selling? You can see here the market demand for this book is great, but our pricing is not ideal. Green means go, red means stop, and our yellow is sort of we use orange because of our branding, but that's sort of our yellow, slow down, take a closer look. So the first two give you a feel for market demand. The next three fields are market pricing. Now, rather than seeing all of these offers here, we kind of give you a bottom, middle, and ceiling for our market pricing here. Your lowest used offer is your lowest used offer. Your used buy box is usually your lowest prime price from a reputable seller, your lowest FBA price from a reputable seller, and Amazon's price if they are on the listing. And then the bottom number is just your market supply. And we get that offer number by adding our used copies and our new copies together, and that is your total offers. Other than that, all of our other integrations are the same, and you can research. You can even click that live button and get the most current information on that particular item. So this is a good example. You can see in the last 2 days, a couple copies have sold. So we had 131, and now we have 129. And it looks like some of our used copies sold, but a new copy was added. So that's where that number comes from. The last thing I want to show you is our analytics tab here on the app. Just like on the web portal, you can filter by a given time frame. Let's take a look at today, for example. You can see your total accepts for the day. Now, I've only scanned the same books over and over, but I could have been scanning different books. I can still see the same stats that I saw on a given time frame here on the analytics tab, but I can also here on the phone take a look at a view details tab. In the view details tab, I can see every book I scanned, whether it be a live scan or the same book with a database scan. I can see the ASIN for that book, the sales rank, the price, which is Amazon's price, and then the FBA profit for that item at the time of scanning. I can see when I've got duplicate scans, if I had scanned categories other than books, such as music, videos, DVDs, I would also have little tabs like this, and I could look specifically just at one category. I also have the ability to download a CSV file. This is really helpful when it comes to listing. If you're a Seller 365 customer, you have Inventory Lab for listing, and you can list with a few modifications. You can download and list using this using Inventory Lab. So all you would do to do that is just tap download CSV. It's going to give you the option to save it to Drive, email it to someone, send it to a WhatsApp contact or something like that, or even email it to a business partner, something like that. Now, I have an example that I saved over to Google Drive just to demonstrate for you, because right now, while we are partnered, we're co-owned the same with Inventory Lab, but right now the products don't integrate fully seamlessly, although that is something we are looking toward in the future. So you will have to add a couple of columns before you can add this book directly to Inventory Lab, this list directly to Inventory Lab. Inventory Lab requires that you have a list price column and a quantity column. Now, most of the time, if you're scanning at thrift stores, you're not like me, scanning the same books over and over. But you may come across multiple copies of the same book. And so all you would do once you get your list is you would add a list price column and a quantity column. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a 1 for any copies that I only have a 1 of. Now you can see I have 2 here of this book, so I would just change it to a 2 and remove my second line. I only have one other case where there is 2, so I would do the same thing. I would just delete that row and I would make this a 1, this a 1, this a 2, and this a 1. But if you just had 1 of everything, you could just pop a 1 in and then drag it down to fill all of the other columns. Now, we don't populate list price right now, so you would have to decide what your list price is and put that in. You could do that by rescanning and just filling in our target price, but we are very hopeful that very soon we will be able to capture the recommended target price and put that in to the field directly. Once all of your list prices are populated, you can just upload that directly into Inventory Lab as a buy list. And we are hoping for further integrations to make it even easier with our Seller 365 bundles very, very soon. With that, I'm done with my scheduled portion of the class, and I'm going to give the opportunity for a few questions. I do have a few questions that people asked that I'm going to go over right now. So the first one was, how often do I download the database? I did talk about this a little bit when I was presenting that section, but it's a good idea to download before every outing, before you head out scouting. Because you want to make sure that you have the most current information available, given that data may be 24 to 48 hours old. The next question was, I'm not a new seller, but I have never sold books or media items before. Is ScoutIQ going to be a good option for me? I would say absolutely yes. If you're a Seller 365 user, ScoutIQ definitely, it's a no-brainer. You already have it. You're already paying for it. You might as well start using it. It's a really good idea because, we really focus in with ScoutIQ on the BMVD category because those items are cheap and they are plentiful. You can go to any thrift store and see, massive shelves full of books and new books arriving every day. Estate sales, you will always find books. You will always find books at yard sales. So having that app loaded on your phone where you can just, you're already out, you're already running errands, you can scan. If you really want to break into that market, take it out with you, test it out and see what you think. But some of our Seller 365 products are a little more complex. They do a lot for you, but they're a little bit more complex, a little harder to learn. But I think you can see here, the ScoutIQ is really simple, and it really simplifies that analyzation process that takes place and allows you to make fast purchasing decisions. So it's definitely makes it a little easier to sort of break into that books and media items category for you. In addition to BMVD, you can also scan video games with ScoutIQ, so keep that in mind. It doesn't look like there are any other questions sent in. So with that, our class has ended for today, but thank you so much for joining. And if you do need additional support, please reach out to support@scoutiq.co, support@scoutiq.co, or check out our help articles at support.3colts or 3 Colts University for our self-service course, where you get all of the information from this class and more in an interactive self-service format that you can go through on your own pace. Or you can join, like I said, our ScoutIQ Basics course, our ScoutIQ Triggers course, Beyond Accept and Reject ScoutIQ Triggers, and that's also found at our 3 Colts University site. If you need anything else, please don't hesitate to reach out. Our awesome support team will get back to you, and they can even direct you to me if needed. Thank you so much and have a great day.